Okay, we're live. Let's hope so. Doing this from my workstation, not from my usual workshop computer, so I've sort of forgotten all the settings. Hopefully I'll have some success. Okay, let's see if we can get some turn-ups first. Excuse me. Dum, 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 dum. Hey Leslie. I'm wondering, Leslie, was the title of the message you got something about creating... I'm just wondering whether it was a repeat of the boring screen checking or whether this was designing an iPhone battery management. Hey Mike. Just popped up, I was on YouTube page. Oh, okay, well, that was fortunate. Interesting that it didn't quite get broadcasted out. So, oh, and how's the audio tonight? I had to really stuff around, and this is working off an ALSA interface rather than a Pulse Audio. For some reason the Pulse Audio was showing me some ridiculously low levels of audio, so I had to just move on to ALSA. Designing iPhone battery management in email. Okay, good. Yeah, that's good. Great. Because I accidentally set the settings and the schedule to, once I'd set that I realised I hadn't changed the title because all your settings on the YouTube live setup are retained from the previous one, so you can easily accidentally redo the same thing. A little echo, but fine. Yeah, that will be the room, I'm afraid. More cave-like, yeah. That is very much the effect of the room, I'm afraid. I do not have any nice paneling or anything like that. Hey Douglas, I tried messaging you on IRC, by the way, so you probably were off somewhere else, but nonetheless I tried to send you a little message. I guess timing doesn't always work out, so that's the way it goes. Alright, the first thing I wanted to just show before I get on with the rest of it, you will remember maybe from the other night I was doing the, I did my battery discharge device. I ended up putting a bit of a better cable on it just to test things out some more. So now it does the job a bit better. So that'll do for me for now, but I wasn't entirely 100% happy with that. It was a bit awkward. So I switched over and I redid the schematic a little bit. So cleaned it up, although I really hate these intersection dots. It's just a pet peeve of mine, but I suppose they're needed to remove ambiguity. Anyway, so I made it so it goes straight into a USB plug, and this is the resulting board. Where's my dimensions layer? So I'll probably go and get, I'll get 10 of those done up. It's got both sides on it, so like, you know, bottom side, top side. There we go. Hello Amy, hope you enjoy that coffee. Dimensions, so yeah, I'll get this sent off to one of the prototyping places like iTeed or Seed or yeah, just one of those. Depends on who I'm in the mood for today. And make up a couple of them, and then I can use them in conjunction with these iPhone battery charger boards, tester boards. And rather than having the long cable on it, I can simply just plug it in like a little USB stick and it will do the job. I went over my calculations and realised I'm actually only discharging at the most of 500 milliamps. That is the limit of this transistor here, and even 500 milliamps is slightly pushing it a bit, but I've got fairly judicious heat sinking all around, so it should keep it cool enough. Can I see the circuit again? Yep. Okay, there you go. I'll give you an explanation of how it works, at least in theory. The very first thing that goes on is when we get our battery voltage, say 4.2 or whatever, it'll come on down through here, and this is set to be about a 2.5 volt reference, so the difference is then split between this divider. The reason why I have two resistors in each is so that I can trim them so that I can compensate for differences in the transistor. Anyway, so what happens here is there's enough of a voltage drop across this top section to push this gate open. G'day Spencer. And when this gate gets pushed open, you'll see about a 0.6 volt drop across it. I shouldn't really say pushed open, it's more like the collector and the emitter get squeezed together down to 0.6, so that's what really happens. And the current will flow through here, and then we'll have enough of voltage across here. It will be like 4.2 minus 0.6, so that's at 3 brain fade, 3.6, something like that. And they'll get split, and there'll be enough of a voltage even after this LED, which will be about a 1.8 volt drop, to subsequently turn on this transistor here, which will then again, you'll get the squeeze effect between the collector and the emitter, 0.6, and the current will start flowing through these resistors, which are just 1.8 ohms. And what happens then is, with that closing, it pulls this feedback line here down, which subsequently pulls that base down even further, which keeps the transistor conducting even stronger, until such point that the battery voltage drops so far that this, even with the feedback, can't stay conducting, and then it will shut. And once that shuts, this here, instead of pulling it down, will immediately start pulling back up, and that creates our hysteresis effect. Now the reason why we have a little the reason why we have a little capacitor here is sometimes if it's marginal with the startup, we're sort of cheating. It's a bit of a bootstrap that will temporarily, for a very short time, short all this to ground, so we'll get an absolutely definite enough of a voltage here between the rails and the base to open this, get this conducting. So it's kind of like a forced attempted start, and if the voltage of the battery is low enough, it will just it won't succeed, and it will just pop back up anyway. So that's basically how it works. It's a little bit of a convoluted contraption, but it works well. It's cheap and it's easy. R5, yeah, R5 gives us hysteresis, yeah. It's not absolutely essential, but it is useful. I mentioned that the other night. And 10K is enough to stop it going too crazy. You could leave it out, but I prefer to have it in there. That gives it that bit of stability. So yeah, really, it's not overly complicated. It just, as long as you get started in the right place when trying to work out what it does, then you can follow the rest through. Yeah, R5's the feedback for the system. Let's see. Yeah, that was a long time ago I did this circuit. And like I said, the only reason I keep it is because it's so cheap. The downside is every time I get a new batch of these transistors, I have to adjust these values to suit the new base emitter voltages. Yeah, we do still get some oscillation even with this feedback hysteresis. It's sort of a feature. It makes it blink when it gets close to the end. Yeah, I could make it bigger and force it, but yeah, there's no real point. The other thing I have to be careful with this is when it goes into the off state, I don't want the quiescent current to be so high that it still drains the battery at a reasonable rate. So yeah, I like to keep this path here still fairly low in current draw. So it works up to about 0.5 milliamp or something like that draining through here. I need to go and get a drink of water or something. My voice is checking up. It's really dry weather here at the moment. I feel like I've got a permanent face mask on or something. So if you give me 30 seconds, I've got to get a glass of water before I stop being able to talk completely. And my headphone set cable is caught up in my wheel. Marvellous. Bloody marvellous. Alright, sorry about that. Yeah, basically that's right, Spencer. So, it's like this was back when, you'll remember when I was doing that 12 volt to 240 volt inverter, just using a pair of MOSFETs and the traditional transformer. This was from back then. This is the normalizer thing that I commercialized back then. And that one that was green and made of acrylic. So, well anyway, that's not really what tonight's project is. That was more of a follow-up of last week's project. And like I said, I'll send these off to get produced just in a small number, just to play around with them, see if they're any good. Yeah, that's right, with the solar. Yep. Now you remember. Back when I burnt the crap out of my finger because I got one of the MOSFETs backwards and it just went into conduction mode through the diode, 12 volts, and I touched it. That was fun. Okay. Let's see. Leslie, at what point would it turn off? Depending on the resistor values, it turns off at around about 3.7 volts at the moment. That's the whole point of all these trimming bits. It's entirely up to what you choose to have. Flex, I don't do enough high-end commercial stuff, and I've been using Eagle for well over a decade now, so I'm fine with it. Plus, I've already got a license for it, a commercial license, even though it's not in here right now. I'm fine with it. But the only time I really can do it more is when I'm doing high-end routing, like trying to really sort out some things. But really, I'm cool with this. I'm certainly not going to dump a bunch of money into Altium. And as for KiCad and those sort of things, nope. tried those open source versions before, and the workflow, while I can see it being practical once you're really into it and do it every day and maybe working on large projects, for this sort of small stuff, it's just a colossal pain in the butt. Plus there's some design decisions they've made in there which annoy me. Anyway, I am now going to work on what this title is all about. So, this one will do. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see, I take it you can adjust turn off with different resistor values for R1. Yeah, you can. It's where half the fun is when you change particularly the PNP transistor, when you change that, or just buy a new batch, you have to go along and start trimming the values again and pick something that suits what you're after. It's annoying, which is why I tend to buy like a reel of 1,000 or something like that, so I don't have to do it too often. Alright. Okay, now you're probably wondering why I brought up a low ohms board. The primary reason is that it tends to already... So after you've done a bunch of... I prefer pen and pencil, yep. Yeah, it's okay until you get up to this sort of starting around here. After you've done a number of projects, you tend to keep in your head what you have, and when you come up with new projects you kind of think, yeah, you know, this one's close to whatever that other one was like. And so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my low ohms board and modify it to do what I'm doing tonight. Let's see, first thing we'll do is we'll save it as modeling. I'm going to call this iPhone. That'll do. And because I envisage having at least 99 revisions, I'll use 3 digits. Let's see. Yeah, this design is not auto-routed. It was auto-routed by my brain. Can you use a trim plot in place of R1 to make it easier to adjust? You could, but there was cost was the primary driver of that particular project. So it's easier just to stuff around one board, get the resistors like the values you want, and then just do it 100 times over. Particularly when the resistors are like, you know, 1/10 of a cent each, whereas a trimmer is a much bigger device and you're going to be looking at least 20 cents for a trimmer. Okay, maybe 10 cents, but nonetheless that's still 100 times more expensive than the resistor. Okay, first thing I probably should change is the project details. No, when was that? That's interesting, it's got today's date. Alright, to do this battery management thing that I want to try to do, now there's a couple of different things. We have to have a charge unit, we have to have a discharge unit, we have to have an interface unit to the PC, which will use USB. Although I'm going to cheat, I'm just going to do serial and then I'll attach a USB module or a wireless module to it. Though theoretically I do want to actually power this off USB, so I'm going to have to think about that. And what else do I want? I was going to have it a blind device, as in there was no, other than maybe a blinking LED or something. But I think I'm going to put a 16:2 matrix display on there. They're cheap and they're easy to drive. And it can be useful to just look at what's going on with the status, particularly if you don't have, if you're not looking at the computer right then. It gives it the ability also to be a standalone unit. The last thing we have to think about is interfacing the charge and discharge and all the rest of it to the battery itself. I don't think I want to have on this board all the different connectors dedicated, so I'll probably do a daughter board. So, fancy pants A-Force layout. Oh, I've got to try and look fancy. Who does the approval? Well, the customers do the approval. When they sort of go, this doesn't work, and then it's like, okay, that's not approved then. I've got a temperature sensor here, I don't really need that. Okay, let's see what we can rip out. Well, we don't need my 24-bit ADC anymore, so all this can just take a hike. Okay, we've got our serial, and God knows why I reversed that serial. It's probably going to bite me in the butt if I unreverse that somehow, somewhere. It's going to. There's no real point in me putting a temperature sensor on here, I think. We'll leave it there for now. Okay, fine. We'll get rid of this power board. Okay. Now, to do the charging with lithium chargers, there's a convenient little devices like these things, the MCP 738s, and they're a nice compact. Where is the bloomin'? There it is. They're a nice compact SOT 23.5. I could do a DFN, but I'm probably going to stay with the SOT 23.5. So I better load one of them in. So cancel. I've got it in here somewhere. MCP. No match. Flip. I've probably got to list it as an LTC because Linear produces a similar device, pin compatible, but they have, there we go, but they have different requirements on their resistors and whatnot. Damn it, I'm out of water. I don't have a 10-litre water. Hey John. Okay, for discharging it, I'm going to go with what I used in the little discharger that we were looking at just before, and that's going to just be a bunch of 2512 resistors. They're also dirt cheap, and you can spread them out to get a bit of a heat distribution effect. 12, that'll do. What's this? Yep, 2K resistor. Thank you very much, Spencer. Damn it, you're right on the mark there too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll do. And we'll steal that one there. And we'll set the programming. So 2K to ground. Nope, yep, 2K to ground. Now I've got to make sure that I've got my grounds right here because this particular project had split grounds for noise reduction, which is completely non-applicable now. Okay, seems like we're good. And I'll do, oh what mongrel. Yeah. Oh, that is so dirty doing it that way. Hey, Marley. Let's see. Yeah, Spencer, actually I think that's where I use the linear version, because the microchip one doesn't really do a very good job down below about, I think it was about 50 milliamp hour packs. And then the linear one, however, was good for any up to about 150 milliamp hour packs. Okay. Well, this is all going to be very dirty for a little bit, I'm sorry to say. I need a cap, steal that cap, and we're going to change that package size. I want that to be a 1206, that's good. I'm actually surprised they haven't got more small chargers like this. I'm surprised there isn't a 1 amp rated one out there. I mean, maybe there is and I just haven't seen it, but I've been looking around. So if anyone does find a 1 amp rated one, please let me know. It certainly won't be in this size, that's for sure. Stat charge. Ah, that's right, they changed the naming of this. It's very unusual for me to be doing this kind of work while chatting. It doesn't really work out so well, I don't think. What is I should have done that first. Hey Stray77. My way, this will be a dual layer board. I can't realistically do it on single layer. What have we got here? Rytec R2. Oh, that's for your up to 300 milliamp hour ones. 300 milliamp rather. Should have linked these together. That's okay. I hate that. Some people can do schematics outright really neatly right from the start. I am most certainly not one of those people. My schematics look like a rat's nest, and then I spend about 2 or 3 days after that unrat nesting them. Let's see. No, that one's a little bit. XT60 is a little overkill. Alright. Okay. You want to aim the same package size? I have my doubts if it's even possible, Stray77, at least realistically. I mean, they may say that they can do 1 amp in this package size, but more than likely I'm guessing they're not going to truly be able to do that. If you've got anything that's supposedly rated, then try it. WPT 23. What? Let's have a Google and see what that comes up with. Okay, so that's a looks like it's a SOT 232, is it? Or something. Let's have a look. Data sheet. These are all. Oh, mouse has got them. Okay. I mean, it'd just be nice to charge it up at about the same rate that the phone itself will be charging. Yeah, shame. Element doesn't have them. BQ24090. Strangely know that number. I do not know why. Or maybe it's just a similar number. Well, it also doesn't have pain in the butt. Okay, 10M SOP. A little more expensive, nothing too bad. 4.2 1 amp charge. Let's have a look at the technical data sheet. Does need a big ground sinker. Yeah, most of them do. Even those little ones I've noticed, if you don't have a really tight ground around them, they do tend to get a little upset. It's disconnect after detection. What? No idea what that is. Interesting. So what do we got? 1% voltage accuracy, pin selectable USB 100 and 500. That could be where I might run into a bit of a problem. The default current coming out of a USB port tends to be fairly limited. Unless I tweak with it with the right resistor values on the data lines to get it to bring it up to 1 amp or so. I may have to consider just externally powering this from a brick or something. It just would have been nice if it was all run through one USB connection. Pardon me. Oh, I can always explore the option. Okay, let's. Well, this doesn't look too happy now that I removed everything. It looks more like a star constellation. No. Now we need a MOSFET. That's a nice crappy looking outline. I'm not exactly sure which pin I'm going to want on the AVR, but I'm getting rid of that temperature sensor. I'm not going to be able to practically put it anywhere. And I can free up the data lines. Not that I'm running short of data lines here anyway. Okay. There are no doubt better ways I could do this. Hey Crowd 2000, good to see you. Now the question is, do I tie my battery straight to ground? Yeah. I'm thinking, what do I need to... Yeah, best I'll do that. Nothing overly interesting, CryoJ2000, other than talking about my little discharger from the other night. And I've created a little board for it, but it's not this one, but it's going to be a compact version of that. And it won't have a whopping great big white power resistor on it, we'll just use little 2512 resistors. And I'm going to get those made up and create some little plug-in boards. There again, I wonder what rabbit holes Apple will open up with respect to hardware today. Oh, they got an event today. Yeah, I wonder what sort of crap they're going to make for us. Okay. My alignment's not very good. I need to find a little termination symbol here. I think my discharge is just starting to blink, a corner of my eye going off. Yep, over there. Come on, come back. Yeah, there you go. You're going to turn off? Anyway, it's just starting to go through a cycle and it's cutting off. It's 3.73, so they'll probably float back up to 3.8. And I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, I enjoy doing circuit design. Yeah, slightly less doing the routing. I don't really enjoy the auto routers much, but yeah, I enjoy the prototyping. Probably the thing I hate the most is waiting the 2 weeks or whatever for your boards to arrive. And usually you find out that you've got a glitch in your board 5 seconds after you've sent it off. Oh, Lexmark actually lost that case. I'm kind of shocked about that. Normally they've been pretty good at slamming the door on anyone's attempt of loosening up their grip on that, on their electronics controls. Are you talking about for the printer cartridges and things like that? Okay, why have I got, why have I got a pin just floating there? I think I've connected up the wrong things here. That is not right. Pin 3. Yeah, that's not right. I nearly blew everything up. Let's drop that down here. By the way, there's certainly a lot of things I would like to see improved on Eagle, and now that Autodesk has taken over them, I anticipate we will see quite a lot of improvements. The downside is that they've gone for the subscription model. 8.0 ruling, wow. Jeez. Who did Lexmark forget to pay off for that? Alright, start. Okay, we've got an LED around here somewhere. We got an LED, an LED. Yeah, I have to go find them myself. Nope. I don't think a blimmin' 1 watt LED would be a good idea on this board. Nope, nope, nope. I still can't believe that Lexmark lost out like that. What? Where the hell are all my files? Okay. We use a nice oversized 1206 because everybody wants to be blinded. Yeah, 1 watt would be very nice for that. So whatever. Duplicate. I was using those 1 watt LEDs for my altitude alarm for model aircraft. Wasn't Lexmark IBM? Or were you saying that basically the IBM ones were just HP clones? And that value is wrong. 2K. Need to give this line here a name. Wrong. What is wrong with me? Name. Dish, no, just bat discharge. That sounds kind of nasty, but we'll live with it. HV, I swear Lexmark was IBM. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are IBM. They got spun off as Lexmark. Okay, so we've got the discharge, we've got the charge, and I'm an idiot and realised I actually need 3 pins here. And Omega, I might make it 4 pins for future sake. What are you doing? I gotta learn the keyboard commands for this. It's pretty embarrassing that I don't know them off the top of my head. And I will make you pin 3, and then we need a data pin. Frickin' mozzie. Huge mosquitoes. They can grab a hold of you and they will carry you off. And if they don't carry you off, they'll drain your blood anyway. So is anyone out there having an aneurysm right now due to the fact that I'm really crappy at doing schematics? Because it'd be pretty funny if you were... Okay, wouldn't be funny, but anyway. And this is going to be the gas signal. Back gas. So we got back discharge and back gas. Sounds like the bat ate something real bad. Cray, what the hell? Alright. And I'm leaving pin for, I don't know, I'll give it a name and I might hook it up. I don't know. Probably best I don't. Probably best I put the ground down the bottom there. For some of the earlier batteries that could be the NTC line, but I don't think we really care about that. Oh yeah, thank you Leslie, yes, that's what I was saying. That NTC. I'm going to put underscores on it, at least it makes it seem more professional. By the way, what's the... I'm presuming this is all coming across as 1080 and at 30 frames per second and everything else okay. Because certainly for this sort of work, it seems like my lowly Pentium does a reasonable job. Ada does this on Livestream once in a while, she's pretty good. Yeah, she's been around for a bit now doing all this sort of stuff, it's pretty impressive. Okay, program, this line actually needs to go to the controller as well, because we need to know what the battery status is, the charge status. Name, G, start. Yes. I may not end up stuffing these onto the board, I'm not sure yet. 1080, 0 drop frames, very good. The colour saturation is probably a bit bogus, but that unfortunately is the limitation of the H.264. I'm doing this at 3500. You just lost 18, that's because you spoke. There's no drop frames on this end, and according to YouTube, everything looks green and healthy. Just like when you blow your nose. Now, Leslie, what sort of dreadful laptop have you been forced to use? What? 7.5 megabyte per second? Okay, petabytes? I think your keyboard's broken there. And I've got people messaging me. Oh boy, someone wants me to fix a Galaxy S5, to which I will tell them, no thanks. Buy those things, you can suffer. Okay, customers don't understand why, but I'm certainly not touching them. Alright, well, realistically, by the looks of it, we've got the fundamentals down. We can flash it, we've got our LED display, we've got our discharger, which is delightfully simple compared to, that's what we need a voltage sense. So, let me think. Now I'm going to be running this AVR at 5 volts, so I can actually just go straight into the ADC with VBAT+. Yeah, CryJ. I get a fair few people with their Samsungs and they've either smashed them or can't get the data off them or something. I've got a 5 sitting on the floor here, and I said to the person, I said, I can't do anything with that. It's heating up. It just sits there. It throbs with the Samsung logo, and that's it. It just gets hot. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with the RAM. I've tried a factory. When you can boot into the Android control boot. I've tried factory resetting it, still does it. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not wasting any more time on that. What have I got here? I've got your LCD line, ADC. Okay, let's try to see if we can start positioning this stuff on the board. Yeah, Spencer, I don't know why your figures are going up like that, because I'm definitely only uploading at 3600 kbit per second. So we've got some new parts. Okay, all these guard planes, separate ground planes and things like that, they can take a hike. So you are out of here. Fine, we'll do it the boring way. This is how a non-professional board designer does his stuff. Now, if anyone ever said to me or accused me of being non-professional when it comes to my methods of doing boards, I will completely agree with you. The difference is I'm just not going to care, and that's what's so nice. Okay, let's flood this sucker. Why is that? Oh, that's right. I keep getting caught out by this, wondering why on earth I have this whopping great big resistor here. And it's for if I've got a backlight in the LED display. Hey Jabara, nice to see you made it. I'm sorry I'm a little earlier than usual. I thought I'd get started while I was still somewhat conscious. Anyway. Dear God, there's some ugly routing. I must confess that I waste a lot of time going over trace routing, trying to make it look nice, when in terms of functionality it's completely pointless, and yet I still do it. So let me just spend 5 hours pottering around on this. Noughts and crosses. All of these were here because of doing the high precision analog digital converter. I really didn't want any variances in my voltages along that ground plane. I mean, it doesn't stop it completely, but it helps. Look freshly washed. Yes, I had a shower this month. Fell into a real rabbit hole here. Sadly, CryJ, that took me a couple of minutes to work out. Oh, jeez, dogs are going nuts. You guys have to give me 2 seconds. I gotta go find out what on earth the dogs are going crazy about. They're not my dogs, but I gotta see what's going on because it could be my cats. Okay, sorry about that. Unfortunately, I do have to. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. I do have to check these things. 12:30 in the morning, dogs start going completely wild. I like to make sure they're not getting into something, mangling something. It's nice to be able to have windows open after having them shut for 5 months of winter. Yeah, it's funny, Greg, it's the opposite here. During summer, everything is shut because we've got the air conditioning on. So in winter, it's nice to actually have the windows open and we can enjoy the cool air. It's like we don't tend to have spring cleaning here, we have autumn cleaning because it's finally, we've endured the long hot summer and now we can get about cleaning up the place, making things nice and whatnot. So even though our season's reversed, in this particular location we tend to follow the same pattern as the Northern Hemisphere. Okay, let's see what I can do. Grab all of these parts, move them. What? The bollocks. That'll do. Okay, now I've got to think about this. We've got our LCD panel up here. I'm going to need some switches on this. I'll think about those in a bit. This pin header here should be renamed to indicate that it is the battery pin header. There we go. I do the same thing. If I hear loud car doors, talking, dogs, I do a perimeter check. Glad to know I'm not the only one. And I mean, I've got an 8-foot fence out there. I'll just show you guys what I'm looking at. There we go, you get to see my camera set up. So like here, this is a 8-foot mesh fence and it hangs over, it's tilted so it's the cats can run up on the inside. And they can't climb over because of the reverse angle in their face. So, keeping everything under watch. I need more cameras. I'd say I need another 3 and then I might be able to relax slightly. Let's see. What do you ask them, Spencer, about the new version? The new version of AutoCAD, they've got better things like follow me routing. They've also got better alignment systems. I think they're going to add a lot of new stuff to it and maybe better integration with online libraries and things like that. Eagle should have had these sort of things sorted out, but I don't know what they did with the last 3 versions, but they didn't really do that much. I see they tried with their partnership with Farnell and it really didn't go anywhere. Anyway, they tried. So half of me is happy that Autodesk is doing something with it, but the trouble is I don't like the subscription model. I'd gladly pay $250 for a permanent license, even of this restricted version. Like I would not like to do a genuinely complex board with Eagle. I agree it is most definitely not the most efficient for human interaction. Okay, so what have I got here? What are you? You're the serial interface. Okay, good. And you're the buttons interface.
There's cheese on it as well.
Sorry?
A little bit of cheese on it.
Oh, thank you. Motorband, yes, I tried KiCad and I felt like it broke my brain for a bit. Considering considering all of my projects are limited to sort of like a single microcontroller, 50 by 50 area, 2 layers, things like that, I don't have any compelling drive to upend everything that I already do in Eagle just to change to KiCad. So I'm going to just stay with 7.7 and it works. You know, it's not the most efficient, but it works. What? Didn't my microphone kill work then? Oh man, that's bad. Good thing I didn't say anything like, oh man, I'm dealing with these gits. Okay, charge chip needs to come down here. Needs to be fairly close to the board. You did the whole locate you 16 layers in Eagle? Oh my god. Hey, you deserve the label of masochist for that. So whatever happened with locate you? I mean, did all the stuff just get sold off to another bunch? I don't like self-harming in PCB design. Yeah, I mean the topic itself isn't much of a joke, but yeah, that was still funny. What the was it? Oh, you rotten little bastard! Forgot that you do that. What are you? You're okay. You are not as critical. So you don't get to have priority. You are. So you get priority. Still going. Not good. No, you're 1.6 million. Well, I believe that. Yeah, that was really unfortunate the way that went down. Hopefully you get something back. I mean, even if it's a quarter, it's better than nothing. Mind you, the legal fees are going to kill it. By the way, I don't have to make this a full 5x5 board. I'm only doing it because it's a bit of a convenient size, and yeah, it's sometimes nice not to cramp yourself so much. Hey Paul, let's see you made it. I'll see you. It's good to see you in Jess's stream today. Although it wasn't electronics, it was pretty amusing. By the way, Paul, I don't know if you saw in my links down below in the description, but if you did prefer other methods rather than the super chat, They are down there. Anyhow, let's see how much of a mockery can I make of this. I'm trying to think what sort of buttons I'd need on this. I was thinking, like, this is a self-standing device. Say we have it running as self-standing. I suppose we'd want a button to start the process. Excuse me. I suppose you could use that same button to stop it. I can't really think of too many other buttons because we know already that the batteries are going to be at least 1500, 1300 milliamp hour. So we don't need to have any restrictions in our, I could just say, current control. So we don't have to care about that. We don't have to adjust the voltage. We don't have to have sensing like that. Perhaps we can have a second button as a mode button. Say maybe you only want a single cycle check. So it just does a charge, discharge, charge. Or you can maybe set it to unlimited. So that would leave you with two buttons then. So stop start, mode select. What's the matter, Amy? Fucking fuck. Water damage phones or paperweights. Ooh, the toilet. Poop water, not good. I'm surprised Chris Long isn't here. As soon as you start talking about toilet water, poop water, he usually makes an appearance. Even though this is a small MOSFET, it's got more than enough capability of handling several amps. Whoa, Paul, you're at it again. I'm going to have to get a plaque etched with your name. I think all my devices are going to have this device has been made possible due to the generous donations from Paul Dar. I don't even know if I'm saying your name correctly. Obviously Paul I am, but is it Daher or Daher? Daher? I'm really not sure. Bada bing. I can get a path but no data. I'll look forward to the times when I'm going to be dealing with these problems. For now I'm sitting around watching everybody else do them. And hopefully, nope, you keep up what you're doing, help people out. Well, there'll be a plaque in my head, that's for sure, Paul. Because every time I'm working on that, you know I am going to be exceptionally grateful and thinking. You know I will. That much you can't stop. And I've been doing this sort of thing for a good 20 years now, so I don't think I'll be stopping anytime soon. Oh, by the way, there we go. I can't even see now where that is. There we go. We've stopped, and we're at 3.79, and that's the float voltage, so that's pretty much on the mark for what we want. So now I can put that battery aside safely, not worry about it ballooning or collapsing, and it should be good for about 6 months in storage. Been 25 already, am I that old, Spencer? What do you think? Yeah, I suppose my first project that I put as open source before open source even was a known thing It was a Turbo Pascal unit, or library I should probably refer it to, that allowed you to control, I think, up to about a dozen CD drives. I can't even remember why I did it. Yeah. Now, I really cannot think of why I did it. Anyway, that's right, I was making my own little media player in DOS. And I had a DJ friend, and he had 6 CDs in a deck. And he wanted to be able to not... what the hell is Captain Tape on my plate? Captain Tape on my plate. That ain't right. I hope I didn't eat any of that. Yeah. Too high. Come on, up you come. That's... I don't even know where that came from. It's come from the kitchen and it's got Captain Tape on it. It's ludicrous. I could have been horribly maimed by Captain Tape. Well, certainly, but I think all I can think of is it was on my bench and it just sort of stuck to the underside of my palm, and then when I reached out, well, the forearm, that's all I can think of. There's no way it would have been up in the kitchen. Jabrar, how far out is the sink? I have not yet worked out how to delay the video, which I imagine would be what I need to do. Is it even possible? I know I can delay the audio, but I suppose the other question is, what's leading? Is the video coming first or is the audio coming first? I have no idea. What might not be helping is that this, although it's an analog headset, it goes through a Creative Labs USB converter. Hey Bernov, nice to see you. Well, if any of you can A, tell me which is leading, the video or the audio, and then B, how I can actually fix it in Open Broadcaster, I'd be all happy. In the meantime, I need to start etching this out. Etching it out? No, drawing it out. Yeah, let's use a 50mm trace on a pad that barely can handle that. Why not? And okay, it's upside down. By upside down, I mean I really probably should have had it so that this resistor here is closest down to here. That's a bit stupid of me. Let's rip it up. 109 okay, 100 milliseconds video ahead. Audio is early, mouth keeps moving, okay. Okay, so we've got varying different syncs there. Maybe put a lip sync Dutch voiceover. Let me just see what I can, if I can do anything at all, whether it's just going to be a bit pointless. Can't do anything there. I'm sorry, but I really am unsure as to where I could do that. It's strange that YouTube would be splitting it like that. I genuinely would have thought that YouTube, once it's got the container, would leave it be. Oh well. These resistors are not going to be dissipating that much heat. They are 1 watt rated size, but they'll be barely dropping 100 milliwatts each. Drag your mouth off screen will fix instantly. Yeah. Sanaka, good evening to you. It's not good to hear that you've got a fever. I hope it's something that will pass fairly quickly. I know with the change of weather here, just getting a little bit cooler. I am not going to say cold. I do not believe that anything above 10 degrees could possibly be referred to as cold. And obviously that is centigrade. Well, I'm not using any GPU on this one. This is strictly just a Pentium G3420 with built-in Intel GPU. So I'm surprised that it doesn't work on other machines, like using Open Broadcaster. Now here's the question I've got in the back of my head. Who am I going to get to do the daughter boards? Because basically what I want... Yeah, unplug this. I'm going to want someone to produce some sort of compact version of this, which simply has all the different connectors on it, and then a 4-pin header. Because I don't mind perhaps manufacturing the board that I'm currently doing, but these phone connectors, the battery connectors, they just look like a nightmare. I mean, and that's with reflow, because I will be doing this using a reflow oven. Change screen to full output of view and see if it's a split screen is the problem with audio. Okay, that will probably crash the whole thing, but let's see. Let's click on that. Here we go. Alright. That's as full as it's going to get because of the fact that I've trimmed off the edge, I realised, with the transformation. And now it's not going to go back. Nice. No, wrong one. Crikey. This is too big. There we go. Get back to where you belong. Transform. I think that's supposed to be 20. No. I've broken it. Oh well, that'll have to do. Did not help. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I can see it's lagging moderately. The CPU is only at 30%. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Sorry. Can you click your fingers? There we go. Well, what I prefer to do with video, this stuff, is this. There we go. Live streaming was not a thing until recently. They changed the way to encode and transfer live streaming and reduce the overall bandwidth. Okay. So what they're uploading split streams, separate audio, separate video. Because I always thought it was repacked into the H.264 container. But I guess not. Actually, I shouldn't say H.264 container because it's an MP4 container as H.264 encoding of the video. I'm sure someone pretty much died of a heart attack because I said it wrong. I find that one of the more annoying aspects of doing a lot of these videos, particularly live stream, is that people will grab onto these things and they will grab on tight. Now you said, it's like, yeah, I mean, I agree, you were right, I was wrong when I said that, but I knew what I was meaning, and I just simply had a bit of a verbal fart moment, so to speak, and you're just simply looking to try and get yourself a free goal. To what point or purpose, I'm not entirely sure. It's like, oh, give it up already. The audio is ahead. Yeah, so it seems some days the audio is ahead, other days the video is ahead. Yeah. What have we got going on here? Since I am undecided at this point as to which power source I am going to use, I suspect it would be prudent of me to add a suitable 2-pin header. Now, since I'm not drawing a great deal of power, I can just make it a very simple 2-pin header. I'll probably make it a 3-pin header so I can avoid polarity issues. Okay. I could probably put the USB one in there as well, but not for now. What do I want? I want to name that. Okay. YouTube uses HLS for streaming. I'll be honest, I don't know what HLS is, so I'm going to have to go out and look that up. I think I might need to start lining these things up. What wouldn't be a bad idea is to have these fairly close together, but then if I want the daughter card to sit on top of there, I don't want it too close. Might have to move up the whole assembly a bit. So that's ground. New ground. Where's B+? Can go about there. What's... wrong position. Hey Maurice, nice to see you. Pause the stream for 2 seconds, the audio is back in sync. Alright, thanks. Not you. I'm usually not watching Paul, speaking anyway, working away from a distance. Fair enough. According to Shotcut. Nice to see another Shotcut user. Okay, so that was HTTP live streaming, protocol of HTTP streaming. Yes, yeah. Hang on, I just hadn't heard of that one before. It's always, there's so many things going on, being developed, new things, that it's hard to keep up. I mean, every time this new stuff comes up, I feel like a complete idiot. It's like, how much more do I have to learn? And then I realise it's just one of those things that never, ever ends. Okay. It'll be interesting to see if it's still if it still has issues when you release the actual. Like right now, when this stream finishes, it becomes an unlisted file and it gets re-encoded, and then you can make it public. So it'll be interesting to see whether the public version remains slightly out of sync or whether it will be properly done. Getting fancy now, I'm using 45-degree angle. God help me. It's getting messy. Yeah. Ugly. More than likely this will be redesigned multiple times. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee it. My track record tends to be at least 3 revisions before I get something that I can use internally. And then beyond that, it's a whole bunch more. Okay, at this point my 5-volt line, I need to start, what's this 2K? Oh, that's the charge control rate set. You can sit. This is why I like using 1206 size parts, because most of the time your flood fill can go right through it. Maurice, redesigning an iPhone 6 on a single layer. Yep. Yeah. Wonder how big your circuit board would have to be to do that. And I strongly suspect, of course, it would never work simply because of the timing issues with trying to get one end to talk to the other. And why do I? Oh, it's because I never connected it. What pins am I close to here? Got 9, 8. I think they're ADC pins though. 9 is PD5, okay, I can use that. 8 is crystal. My brother is Aussie, his surname is Kessel. Whereabouts in Australia? Oh, I'm guessing he's not in Australia. He just is an Australian. Brother-in-law. Spencer says, I average 5 revisions before I get ground fills that actually are ground. That's why you got to turn the orphans off. But I don't need to talk to you about that sort of stuff. I know you know your stuff very well. You put me completely to shame. But I know you remain humble about that. But you know it's true. Okay, 9 to 14. What's going to be the best pick there? I might try it for 14. And that is the bat discharge line. The bat that needs to seek medical attention. It would be nice if it actually came up with suggestions as you typed, so you got the names right. At this point I start thinking, oh, maybe I should have made it pin 9. Oh well, I can always switch that later. Let's just go in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, Maurice, I'll tell you what, I am glad these days that we have such cheap, quick and featureful etching services nowadays. I mean, when I first started, Spencer would know this, who's seen my videos, well, my pictures and whatnot. I was using the toner transfer method with the iron. I've got a couple of articles on it somewhere. But yeah, that was not much fun. I even sold commercially boards, projects that have been built on toner transfer Bakelite boards, single-sided. I look back now and I think, wow, people actually bought that crap. Terrifies me. Okay, so that one's done. What else do I have to... I really need to set up those missing lines here. So where are you going to? Switch to the bottom, and my fat logo's there, along with a whole lot of other stuff. Okay, that's fine. Wait. They're actually useful traces, don't get rid of those. Oh no, that's right. Okay, that's good. Yeah, Spencer, that was good with the Farnell thing integration until they sold out, and now it's no longer available. Yeah. Oh, those self-etching kits. The ferric chloride, I hated that. But of course, did anyone used to draw their own layouts using the Dallo or Resist pens? The Eve Open logo. Is that what... Do I have to make a copyright claim on Eve? Because that would score me some real cash. Because I've had this since, well, that's 2001. Although Eve came out around about then, didn't it? Let's get my traces because I'm just yabbering rather than doing actual work. Why is that a 14? Because it's 5 volts, that's why. And that's going all the way. I'm probably going to rip that up and redo that. Oh, that drives me insane. If you have OCD inclinations, this is the part where you start to lose your mind. Okay, let's go. And this is where Autodesk have added their improvement. They've got the follow me function. So as I walk through here, it would actually follow where I'm going and draw out a suitable trace based on your parameters. Okay, what are you? You're also 5 volts. Well, why didn't you... weird. Why are you doing this to me? It's because you want to be connected. What are you? You're the 2K, so we'll drop down to 10th hour trace and be naughty. Okay. And this here should just go to here. To the bottom of the board. One thing I have got frustrated with is that if you've got a trace like this and you say want to start it from here because this is a 5 volt that it wants, maybe someone who knows Eagle better can tell me how I can make it so it starts from here. Because at this point I haven't found a way. Alright. And as it is, it looks like I just need to go from there to there. And I'll do that on the underside. So usually the way I have to do it now is I'll take a little piece out of there and use that as my starter to come over here. So like I said, there is probably a far more efficient way of doing this. I don't know it. And I did that wrong. Bottom layer. That's it. That's interesting. Why are you highlighting? Yuck. Yuck. Ah. I don't care that electrically it's the same, mentally it's not. What do you choose? Who prefers the T-junction? Who prefers this sort of thing? Or all going into the same pad? I'm more partial to this sort of thing. OCD is the only way good inventive. Yeah. A certain amount of mental illness? Yes. Yeah. Nope, you have to remove any old references from the pad and use it as a start. Well, that's just bollocks. Oh well. It looks hideous. But the nice thing is, here we have Rat's Nest says nothing to do. It's okay. And now I've got a bunch of junk that isn't even relevant. Because these are all copyright 2011. I think that's a wee bit outdated. Just a little. We'll make that 17. Now the only reason I put the copyright on there is not because I want people to not use it. It's just more of a commercial, legal protection type thing, that if I find someone has run off against whatever I chose to release it as, I've got a small chance of having some success. Often I etch that into the copper itself, but realistically, I mean, if anyone's going to copy this, the first thing they're going to do is rip out anything and everything that looks like anything I did. Okay, so power in, battery connector here. Now that I'm looking at it, I probably could have put that up. Could I put that up there? I'm thinking maybe I could have put it up here. Make it more central. But then yeah. That looks a bit better. As you can see, it's a very sparse board. Pretty much nothing to it. I know what I forgot. This might throw a spanner in the works. Gas gauge. What can we use for that? Okay, I need to be back in a second. Won't be long. Alright, just have to go and check on some things. Oh, what do you want? What do you... Oh, gee. Okay, it seems like I was foolish enough to leave my door open, and I've now got a participant. You want to say hello? No, you don't. Come here. Yep. Sorry, everybody. This is Mia. She's the youngest of our 3 cats. She was a stray that just turned up at our doorstep one day, and we took her in. So, she's a genuine lap cat. As soon as I sit down, she can get access to me. She will sit on my lap. Fortunately, because this is not the electronics workshop room, I can permit her to be in here. Alright, what are you doing? What you doing? You're forcing me to have to put my headphone cable away. Alrighty. I'm thinking about the layout of this board. Now, if I want this to be... What do you want? Yeah. What do you want? Yeah, okay, here we go, we'll turn this down. No, you know, what do you do? What? Yep, that's the life of having a cat. It's kind of interesting, it's zoomed out. Are you zoomed out? What do you do? So, you can stay there. Okay, now if I want to use this as a hands-on board, something for, yeah, thank you, freestanding, and people want to be able to stop-start things, change mode and whatnot. Now they're going to have the display, it's going to be attached up to here. Now if I think about it, the display will technically be on the other side, so we are looking at the back side of the board, and the LCD, if I sandwich it with the board, kind of like how this is done, then the LCD will be on the back side. So it makes sense then to put buttons on the other side. Yeah, she's the only really sort of like fluffy cat. All the other ones we have, the short-haired, black and white, tuxedo type cats. We'd never had a fluffy one before, but I think the spookiest thing is, she was only about 6 months when we found her and she turned up. The spookiest thing is, when they're young, they tend to have very red, blood red eyes. It took us a little while to get used to that. So, because she turned up, I ended up having to build another enclosure around the property, at least to keep her in her own yard for about 30 days while the other 2 got used to her. Love all fuzzy creatures. I'm heading into being a fuzzy creature with my lack of shaving, but that is under the command of the commander of the house, that I cannot let my beard get any shorter than a certain length, otherwise I'll be in trouble. So. Yeah, Spencer, she's like I said, she's really a little daddy's girl sort of thing. So, she's always stealing the chairs. You are, aren't you? Yeah. In fact, the only reason why she's here right now, though, is that she wants me to get off the chair. Yeah, she's going to do a compromise and just sit on me and then complain. Alright, so I need to think about where I can put some buttons on this. I suspect, yeah, just around here and here on the other side. Bears are cool, yeah. Alright, so let's get some buttons. Which I'll probably have listed as a switch. Let's have a push button. No. tactile switch. No. Trying to think where my normal ones are. Nope, 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 nope. None of those are the ones I want. Yes, you're quite right, Leslie. They do generally find us, and then your cat acquires you. Happy wife, happy life. Very true. 14 to 16 hours a day, shop cat. Well, I suppose if you take the cat home, then yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to load up another project so that I can get the buttons that I want, because I've forgotten where I put them. And for this project, it's the USB current meter. There we go, USB current meter. Be version 17. Yes. Okay. Well, this is the other option I could take. No, just go with the 16 by... No. Yeah, these are the buttons I want. Library button. Fair enough. Let's have a look where that is. In my libs. How ironic. Well, I shouldn't really say ironic because it's not. It's more just how predictable. Okay. That'll do. Okay. I have no comment on buttons. Last design I had used MEMS quantum tunneling. What the? I don't even know what to think about that. Oh, you half pitch. Here we go, dreadful design. Why not? You ever had some things that take you way too long to start using in life? Like, far too long I would not use the internal pull-ups on my microcontrollers. So rather than have a nice simple button design, I'd incorporate all these hard pull-ups, actual resistors. It was just silly. And then one day I finally decided, yeah, maybe I should use the pull-ups. Okay. So now we're going to run into trace issues. And I've got to remember how big these... I might just put them over here. Leslie Monroe, I don't like YouTube's emojis, reminds me of the ghost set of Pac-Man. They actually do, don't they? Mike Says, I'm getting too old to worry about looking good. Now, you're talking about your boards or yourself? Crochet, Balinese, they pick one person and that's it. Wow. Why do cats produce so much hair just to shed all over the place? Yeah, I do wonder about that. We never really had a bad cat hair problem until we got Mia, and now we've got cat hair everywhere. Okay, now I've got to run these buttons. Ooh, if I can just get to there. Maybe I should put the buttons over here. Yo, let's do that. Let's put the buttons over here. I do have an outline for the LCD panel somewhere. It's just like a part that I use. Okay. Blocked. What? Alright, now I'm cheating. Good and proper. That's much better. I'll just make people have to move their fingers a lot more of a distance. And here comes the OCD again. How to route it best. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of those, even though they are ground. Just move them. Okay, so we've got our two buttons. Let's see if I can find the LCD outline. Ah, here we go. What? Great, I did it on my chip on glass, I've done it on my 8x2, I haven't done it on my big ones. Brilliant. No, no good. Bugger. Oh well. Hey Tello, what tips do you have on designing such a board? I presume you're referring to this one. I don't really have any specific tips other than on your first revisions, start out the maximum size you sort of can within reason. I mean, obviously you don't want to have a board that's 1 foot by 1 foot. Except that you're going to have multiple revisions. It's just, if you try to get it perfect first time, you're going to live a life of misery. It just isn't going to happen. I mean, unless it's a really simple board. I've got a project that was, all it was a 5-volt regulator with an alarm on it. And I have got so many revisions of that thing. Where is it now? Modeling. Max. Okay, what have we got? I see. But these are all schematics, and this is just for one type of. So they're all the different revisions for a particular class of this regulator board, and there's a few other classes that I produced. Let's see, back 11 adjuster. let's have a look at this one. So as you can see, it's a fairly simple schematic. It's just 5 volt linear regulator, a little tiny 80 tiny 10, and an alarm. Really easy. And this is the terrifying little board that I end up creating. And I manufacture these all by hand. They're extremely profitable little item, funnily enough. I didn't originally want to make these. A person said to me, yeah, you should make a 5 volt regulator for the model aircraft community, particularly the gliders that I was working with. And I was like, yeah, you know, you can get 5 volt regulators anywhere. What's the point? But then they said, well, yeah, they don't have alarms on them that you can hear when you're flying and your battery's getting a bit low. So I thought, oh, okay, fine. So I did one. And it ended up being my most successful commercial product. I think I've built and sold around about 500 of them. I still have boards left for about another 100. Most of the parts too. Well, this was pretty much where the refinement finished up. I've violated so many spacing rules here, but you know, it does the job. I have to pre-flash these controllers before I put them in, because there's no practical way of doing it while they're in there, unless maybe you've got a pogo board or something like that. So that's the component side. Then this is where the buzzer sits. So I've got different types of buzzers. So I've got yeah, you've got a pin through one and a surface mount one. I used to have a 4-pad one as well, but there was, in the end I didn't go for that. You're right. What's the matter? You don't like the cord on your head? Grumpy little thing. Yeah, I'll stick it around my neck, choke myself instead. There we go. What are you doing? You're gonna lie in front of the keyboard now, are you? Okay. For some reason this camera looks like it is legitimately zoomed in. I don't understand why. Let's see if I've got... That might be because it's zoomed in. Oh, marvellous. There we go. You happy now? So. Yeah, spindly for that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'll leave that to the professionals. For this sort of stuff, that's pretty much my limits for now. What's happened here? You know you're making life difficult. You do know that, don't you? No, you don't care. Okay. So what I can do from here, since we've pretty much got to the end of what I need to care about, I can send this off, get it etched and sent back, build it up, and at least it gives an idea then of why I'm not caring quite so much is half the time you don't even really know what you're in for until you get your hands on it, and then once you've got your hands on it you get a much better feel for what's going to fit, where it fits, all those sort of things, and then you make your adjustments from there. And I think that's why it ends up always being about 3 revisions for me, at least for the first getting started. What's the matter? Because the first revision is just simply kind of like your first prototype. You have wires hanging off it. Nothing is lined up right how you want. The second one is just sort of like, I think it's supposed to be like this, and then your third one is obviously your final refinement. Philip, it's going to be for a iPhone battery like this, so I can charge, discharge, monitor what's being used, like the milliamp hour capacity, which just reminds me now that I haven't put any current sensing in this. And hopefully I'll make it so that the microcontroller can talk with the battery, the battery gas gauge, and then I can get things just like even just a serial number or stuff like that. But I suppose if I get one bit of information, I'll pretty much get it all, and that's it. Got all full joint. So I've completely forgotten about current sensing and all this yibber-yabbering. Okay, how are we going to cram current sensing into this? I suppose we can go low side. Because I want to be able to current sense what's going in and going out. I may have to use two separate shunts for that. Motorman, I generally use IT'd. Pretty sure that's IT'd. As far as I know, they're pretty much a clone of Seed. I just find they're quick, they're perfectly good quality. All my boards are done through, all my short run boards are done through them. For large production runs, I usually use Gold Phoenix still. But it's been such a long time since I've done a large production run. I'm fairly sure they're still in business. There's one way I can cheat and get a current shunt reading without adding any extra components, and what I can do, I'm not going to do it this way, but what I could do is just simply put a sense pin here off to an ADC, but then I'd have to calibrate it based on what the resistance of the MOSFET is, which is a bit of a pain to do each time. Let's see, what's another way I can do it? I can measure the drop across these resistors here. I'm trying to think if I'm going to be pulling. I'm trying to see what's within the range of the ADC to still give me some decent resolution. So we've got 10-bit, and if I'm assuming these are about, say, 1 ohm, why not? 500, so we'll have half a volt going across them. So yeah, that gives me 9 bits of resolution, half a volt on the 1.1 volt range. So I could do that. And if I get a sufficiently low RDS on MOSFET, I can get them down to about 10 milliamps now. I can pretty much ignore the fact that it exists and just sort of assume it's a 1. So yeah, I can just put a sense in here, pick up from there. So that handles my discharge side. Perhaps not the best name, but that'll do. And the next trick's going to be the battery charge side. Now for that I pretty much have to use a high side current sense. I'm not a great big fan of high side current sense. Anyone else want to suggest an easier way? Seriously. Yeah, good old ground flood fill. Essential part of any design. Philip, the reason why I've got 4 in series there is just simply for cheapness, and it gives me some wiggle room if I want to change things around a little bit. They're all just like, they cost me like $0.01 each. The 2512 1 watt capable resistors. Pardon me. And it does give me the advantage just now that's happened that I can tap into just one of them here and give myself a current sense. And it's actually 5 resistors, but yeah. Yeah, Spencer, high side current sense, because I need to be able to coulomb count how much is going into that battery. I could put a proper coulomb counter chip in there. I've used them before, but it's a lot of money for, I don't want it that accurate. I'll be happy within 10% for what we're doing here. So I may just have to use 2 ADC lines, since I don't think I've got different. Oh wait, maybe the new ones do. Do the new AVR Mega 8 series have differential ADC? There's a Mega 88. Okay. Phone dead. I'm sorry to hear that, Amy. Oh, come on. Hurry up and download. What? Only 1 instance? Ah, that's better than 9 instances. No, not what I was after. I know there's a lot of people who will be saying things like, why don't you use something more recent, perhaps like an STM or maybe an MCP430, though they're not that recent anymore. One thing you find is after you've invested a lot of your time into learning a particular microcontroller architecture, it's, even if it gets old, as long as it's still available, it's often just better to stick with it, unless there's a very specific reason to move on from it. What have we got? Not AN1. Netflix input. Fairly sure the Mega 8 series does not have differential. Yeah, the multi-sampling is certainly something that we use a lot. maybe it was on another 8-bit AVR series that I saw it had differential. The Tiny 85. Well, what I can do is I use two ADC pins and then just calculate the difference between them. It's just a bit of a pity because it's going to be high side, I am not going to get a lot of resolution out of that. I could put an op amp in there, but I find them to be just as much a pain in the ass as anything else. Yeah, but if I could do the op amp trick like that, yeah, so when you design things and whatnot, you tend to, I wouldn't say you get a hatred for some things, but you find you just don't have a lot of luck with a particular design option. And for me, op amps have always given me more grief than what I've gained from them. Yeah, oh, there you go, Spencer agrees. That means everything must be right. Because like if I want to get an op amp and it's up on the high side, I'm going to need a rails to rails, and they start also behaving weird up the top of the rail. So mind you, I will be running this off 5 volt. Now the other problem is I can't really afford for this sense resistor to be too big, because it will be like trying to charge, and if it gets a whiff of something weird going on that battery line, it's going to get upset. Well, I do have a... Okay, I think I'm already going to be sampling the battery voltage anyway with one line, so all I need to do is just add one in to this particular side of it, because the battery will be there. So VBAT. Let's just use up these ones. It's probably going to be on the wrong side of the chip. They'll teach me for not looking. Well, if anyone is watching this in the hope of learning how to do these sort of designs, I strongly recommend you to run away. Okay. I really should use some sort of different designation for this sort of thing. You can mux them into the two ADCs and oversample. No. Mind you, the one thing I have always had a bit of a beef with the AVRs is that they are just still a single ADC converter and AD converter. and you already are muxing on the inside. Charge amp sensor. Okay. See how badly we butchered everything. Horrifically. Okay. Should probably change the size of this resistor too. Ah, crap. Well, see, everything's become a mess now. This is one thing where Eagle really can be a pain in the butt, is if you haven't removed every little segment of your existing traces, then it can send you on a wild goose chase. But I keep saying there's a little piece in here or something. So if you do change your layout on something, you need to make sure you pull up every little last bit. Especially you get like little segments just hidden under the pads. Oh yeah, that's disgusting, man. Okay. Do not use pins next to... Oh, you mean on the microcontroller? Alright. Dear God, I've been going for 2.5 hours. It's almost 2 o'clock. I think it's probably time I need to wind up. Yeah, I'm definitely moving those ADC pins there. I can't get to them effectively. Pardon me. Hopefully I've got something 9 to 13. Nope, nope. Nope, nope. Crap. I'm going to have to change these. Where's my other ADCs? I'm going to have to move my serial port off. That's okay. Philip, it's got both. I've got a serial port here which I need to move because I need these ADC ports, and it's also connecting up to a LCD. Ah, you bastard, you grabbed that, didn't you? Just had to grab that. You can go there. Yeah, I don't think I'll be going quite that low. I think for this particular task I'll probably have a 0.1 ohm shunt. So we're going to lose about 50 millivolts, I think. 0.1 times 0.5, yeah, 50 millivolts. So it's not brilliant, but that's well within the error margin of these anyway. So, alright, I'm winding down, my brain's fading out on me. I know I just need to sort out that current sensing and then I'm good. Oh, g'day Mako, just as I'm sort of winding up. But I was glad I caught that current sensing, else I would have been out to 4 revisions by the time I got things sorted out. Yeah, maybe at 0.1, it's like, it's a nice big fat thing. It still would have been nice if the controller had differential input, particularly on something like a 1 volt reference. Yeah, didn't get much sleep last night, and it was Monday today. But I wanted to get this underway while the mind was still, you know, interested in doing it. I don't know when I'll finish it off though. What you doing? Yep. Anyway. Alright, well, thanks everybody who persisted. Thanks for those who didn't anyway. It's still nice of them to come in. And I will probably post something about this later. Maybe once I've got the circuit boards back, we'll have another video about this, maybe building it and trying it out. But like I said, I fully anticipate there to be at least 3 revisions of this before it's at a point where I can sort of offer it out to other people. Gigabyte of pad starter for you. Oh, great, yeah. If you've got me the spec, I'll love you. And I've got 2 dogs that have turned up on my patio. Interesting. This isn't good. I'll have to go and sort them out. This is why I have an 8-foot fence out here, because these creatures are always running around and they will definitely attack. I know these dogs. I'll have to go sort them off. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next time.